Welcome to Endless Nights. Not everything you see can be explained. Some stories are better left untold. But tonight, you're going to hear one. For the best experience, put on your headphones, turn off the lights, and let the darkness take over. On a stormy night, as the wind howled through the deserted city streets, journalist Emma Carter sat in her dimly lit office, staring at the scattered papers before her. She was investigating an unknown serial killer, dubbed by the press as the Surgeon, due to his terrifyingly precise method of killing his victims. All the victims were found mutilated, their chests surgically opened with horrifying precision, and their hearts removed as if by the hands of a skilled surgeon. But the most disturbing detail was that the killer always left behind a third eye carved into the victims' foreheads, as if it were his personal signature. Emma sifted through the files again, searching for any clue that could lead her to the murderer. There had been 6 identical murders in the past 3 months, and the police had no suspects. But Emma noticed something the police had overlooked. All the victims were former patients at St. Mary's General Hospital. It couldn't be a coincidence. She felt an eerie truth lurking beneath the surface. She picked up her phone and called her friend, Detective Ryan Cole. But there was no answer. Determined, she decided to go to the hospital herself, despite the fact that it was well past midnight. The haunted hospital. Emma stood before the old hospital gates, where flickering neon lights cast an unsettling glow. She stepped through the revolving doors, each footstep echoing ominously in the empty corridors. She made her way to the archive room, where all old patient records were stored. Suddenly, she heard a heavy breath behind her. She froze and slowly turned round. There was no one there. With trembling hands, she opened a file drawer and searched through it until she found a name that sent chills down her spine. Dr. Samuel Grant. He had been a brilliant surgeon at the hospital before his mysterious disappearance 5 years ago. Strangely, all the victims had once been his patients. It was as if the killer was avenging something. But why? Before she could think further, she heard footsteps approaching. She quickly turned off her flashlight and hid behind a shelf. A tall shadow moved through the corridor, and the sound of a blade scraping against the wall sent shivers down her spine. The figure wore a blood-stained white coat, his face concealed in the darkness. Then, in a low whisper, he spoke. "Emma, I know you're here. Escape from hell." Emma held her breath, but her heart pounded wildly. How did he know her name? The killer moved slowly, as if savoring his prey's fare. Suddenly, he raised a scalpel and slashed at the shelf she was hiding behind, forcing her to leap out and sprint toward the exit. She raced through the dark hallways, desperately looking for a way out, but the doors were locked. His footsteps grew closer. "Don't run, I just want to show you something." She spotted a door marked Operating Room Number 3 and dashed inside, slamming it shut behind her. But as she turned around, she felt ice flood her veins. The walls were covered with photographs. Photos of the surgeon's victims, each with a third eye drawn in blood. In the center of the room stood an operating table, and on it lay a fresh corpse. The body was restrained, its skin slit open, the heart missing. Then, from the shadows, the killer emerged. Do you understand the truth now? The horrifying truth. Emma realized the terrifying truth. The killer wasn't just anyone. He was Dr. Samuel Grant himself. He hadn't disappeared as people believed. He had been hiding. committing his gruesome crimes in the dark, exacting revenge on his former patients. "These people weren't innocent, Emma," he said in a calm voice, stepping closer with his scalpel. "They stole everything from me. And now, you will become part of my masterpiece." She squeezed her eyes shut, bracing for the end. But suddenly, a gunshot rang out. The surgeon collapsed to the floor. At the doorway stood Detective Ryan Cole, gun in hand. He rushed toward Emma, pulling her up as the killer took his final breaths. In a weak voice, the surgeon whispered, "The story doesn't end here." Then, his eyes locked onto hers as he died. The end. Or the beginning. Weeks after the incident, Emma sat in her apartment, struggling to move past what had happened. But one night, she heard a strange noise in the kitchen. When she approached to check, she found a blood-stained note on the table. There was only one sentence written on it: "The third eye is still watching you." If you enjoyed this creepy story, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And remember, the darkness is always watching.